Project background. The City of Detroit's Office of Contracting and Procurement, better known as OCP, requests proposals from qualified respondents to complete or advance planning, organizational development, and/or pre-development services as set forth in this RFP to be carried out by an eligible community organization that are advancing community land trust models for the purpose of providing long-term and affordable residential housing to low income housing. At this time, I will let Daniel, a representative from HRD, go ahead and give you a little bit more background as to what this RFP is all about. Daniel, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Daniel with HRD here. So just really quickly, I think as you will see in the RFP, this is really just a way for us to get some development dollars out there that was allocated by City Council to support what organizations, like Ashley said, looking to do lasting affordable housing through CLT models. So we had a big allocation around $3 million or so. But what we decided to do was to kind of break that up into phases, which kind of spawned the development of this initial RFP. And I think the best way to kind of talk about the needs or services of the RFP, if I could just share my screen quickly, I just want to pull up a slide that we have here that talks about the eligible RFP activities. So like I said, part of the dollars, approximately about 712,000 of those will be divvied up for possible applicants to respond and apply for certain services proposals that will help them support the work that they're already doing in terms of laying the groundwork for establishing CLT organizations across the city of Detroit. So part of those eligible activities is, as you can see on your screen, is it's kind of parsed out into three overarching themes. So organizational development, planning, and pre-development. So some of the eligible activities that applicants will be applying to for us to fund will be registered like nonprofit CLT entity status, recruit initial board of directors, develop bylaws, mission statements, establishing a tripartite governance structure, and things of the like. As far as planning, those would be developing a strategic plan for CLT, conducting community planning, engagement activities, and acquisition strategies, and things akin to that nature. And then lastly, for pre-development, we work around with legal counsel for on-the-ground lease and affordability covenants, prepare design documents such as site plans, rendering, construction, and docs, and create home buyer and tenant selection. Create tenant selection criteria aligned with income targets. The way I've come to think about these kind of planned activities is they're really the visionary / planning stages, the on paper stages, if you will, to really kind of help and target or focus, I should say, on those organizations that are kind of rooted in this work already, but just need some additional resources or support to kind of push those stages or solidify those planning stages if it were. Applicants responding to these services could either do these in isolation or together. Like it doesn't have to be one CLT applying for just planning dollars specifically and not pre-development. If that's where they are, that's fine. But these can also overlap as they organically tend to do. So this is what the first phase of the RFP that we're discussing will be set to initially plan and fund and support throughout the way. Keegan, was there anything that you wanted to add, or does that about sum it?
So that's a good overview. I think just for context, I know a lot of people are following city funding allocations to community land trusts. This is intended to be a interim set of planning contracts on a pathway to utilizing development dollars to be released in the future. So anticipating that, or as we've heard from organizations planning for community land trusts in their neighborhood, there are oftentimes some additional planning and development, pre-development work that would need to happen in order for an organization to be ready to apply for and compete for development subsidy dollars. So this is really intended as a way to help those organizations who aren't yet ready for those development dollars, but could be with some additional planning support to access some contractual resources to complete those plans for lasting affordability in their neighborhood.
Thank you for that, guys. Sorry, I was just reading the chat that we have here, making sure that I'm catching all the questions that we have listed. Let's see. I'm just checking on the link to make sure that the link to our conference here is in fact the same. Just checking the meeting IDs. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. It looks like the meeting IDs and the passcodes are the same. So again, this call is being recorded and it will be posted on YouTube for anybody who may have missed out or wasn't able to join us at this time. Or if you just want to recap and see things that were discussed, it will definitely be posted for viewing. Key response items that I want to make sure that everyone pays close attention to it is our minimum qualifications for this RFP. So before you move forward, you will want to make sure that you read this section of the RFP thoroughly to make sure that you have those minimum qualifiers on hand. For example, a minimum of 2 years of experience providing these services requested in the RFP, or 10 completed units of housing development activities, pre-development, development financing, construction, property management, etc. You will show us this and indicate this experience using attachment A. Firms must have a federal tax exempt status according to Internal Revenue Code Section 501(c)(2), 501(c)(3), or 501(c)(4). Please provide us with a portfolio illustrating the experience with advancing the development of a CLT. So any examples that you can provide us with work that you've already done in the past is helpful. A mission statement that illustrates that the organization's primary purpose shall include the acquisition and the stewardship of land for permanently affordable housing and other community assets on behalf of a specific geographic community. An organization is eligible to apply if this is a primary purpose that relates to a wholly owned subsidiary of the applicant. Last but not least, provide the organizational bylaws or policies that state that the organization's corporate membership is open to any adult residents within the CLT's geographical defined community or is intended to be so when established. Additionally, the organization has a governing board that is elected by the corporate membership with a minimum of 1/3 of the board seats permanently reserved for elected representatives of the organization's lessee residents or organization intends to align with the structure when it is established. Project timeline and overview. This advertisement went out on September 12th of 2025. Your questions are due September 26th of 2025 via the supplier portal, aka Oracle. Your proposals are due October 13th, 2025 by 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Oracle. And the work schedule is pending City Council approval. Great. Now I would like to open the floor up for any questions that the vendors may have. Feel free to unmute yourself to ask your question. Henry?
Yeah, hi, my name is Henry Bright. I wanted to ask if we go back to the qualifications for experience qualifications. I'd say you were asking for a minimum of 2 years experience requested. I'm working right now with some of the CLTs, and they're the nonprofit organizations. They're not by themselves going to have probably that 2 years of experience, but the team that we're actually putting together, does that count towards the experience of those organizations? Are you taking that into account?
So I would say if your entire organization doesn't have the 2 years, but individuals within the organization have that experience, maybe put together a portfolio of work that individuals have done that may embody that 2 years. Daniel, Keegan, would you agree?
I would agree with that, and I would also add that the intention here is it doesn't necessarily need to be that this experience needs to be specific to community land trust work itself. The components of it, neighborhood organizing, neighborhood planning, market analysis in the neighborhood, those types of activities that are essential to being successful in this work. If they've been done in other contexts in community, that is okay as well. It doesn't need to explicitly be around the ACLT initiative to demonstrate that experience.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. Andrew?
Yeah, could you say more about the tax exempt status for firms? Is that just for the lead consultant if there's a team where it's led by a tax exempt organization, but there are, for-profit consultants as a part of that team as a sub-consultant? Would that be okay?
Daniel, Keegan, now I'm going to refer to you.
Yeah, so the intention here is that the lead applicants or the entities who are taking the lead on setting the plan here are organizations who are they themselves advancing the community land trust concept. And then they would have the opportunity to identify any consultants or partner organizations that they would bring on to fulfill that work. But the intention here is that it's really the contracts are owned and delivered primarily by the community land trust advancing organization as opposed to by a planning consultant. So that's the intention here. We may need in a response, Ashley, to clarify that I think there are some instances where an organization may not yet have that tax exempt status, but would otherwise meet the spirit of what is being advanced here, and we can provide that clarification. But the key thing that we wanted to distinguish here is that these are really intended to be led by organizations, typically nonprofit organizations, who are advancing this on behalf of the community they serve.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, Andrew, if you do not mind submitting that question via Oracle, I will post it in an addendum so that everyone can see the answer. All of you guys, if you don't mind submitting your questions via Oracle, we will post them so all vendors can see. Jeff and then Henry.
Yes, thank you. Will the city entertain joint applications between two CLTs?
So, Daniel, I see Daniel saying yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Yeah. Short answer. I was just going to ask, in respects to the last question as well. The RFP speaks to if the organization also, let's say, has a subsidiary organization that is maybe that does not have that tax exempt status. Just as Keegan said, as long as that head organization is the one kind of leading that work and taking the charge on those contracts, that same spirit applies as well.
And I would like to say how you guys will want to portray that to us, to make us know essentially who the primary and the sub will be. Just utilize attachment A and B. There are sections there that specifically say who is the primary and who is the sub. Henry?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't have another question. But now that you called me, I guess can you explain how we're going to use the professional services contract? I think that's why it kind of got a little confusing because it's under
Yeah.
a professional service contract.
Mm-hmm. So in this from the professional service, because this is a service that you will be providing to the city of Detroit to go ahead and show us how you will pre-develop or develop a CLT. It's not a good that is being sold to us, and there are no IT sort of transactions here happening. So the language of the professional service contracts allows for us to develop the contract in a way that gives you the freedom to develop things. Especially with Exhibit B, which will be how you're paid through the contract, it allows us the flexibility to create milestones, so that we can make sure people are being paid out. Or, of course, that will be handled on this side internally with Keegan, Daniel, and myself. But that is the type of contract model that we will use to bring this together.
Okay.
Does that answer your
I
question?
yeah. So is it? I want to say, is it made to reimburse the nonprofit? Like if they have a certain expenses during that milestone, or how would you set that up?
So yes, the city of Detroit does not offer advances on work.
Okay.
So in order to combat that, we're able to set up milestones. And a milestone can be anything that Keegan, Daniel, or myself say that it is. So your milestone number one within the first 30 days may be to, I'm not sure, develop the policy or bylaw. And then report that over to us. That is a milestone that you've completed, and we can determine what type of payout you receive per that milestone.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I think we're going to be working on this. Thank you.
No problem. Let me check the chat to see if we have any other questions lingering out there. You guys, I did put into the chat, if you have not visited our supplier support webpage for the city of Detroit, there you can find helpful tutorials on how to submit a bid, how to navigate Oracle, just in case you run into those types of issues. Contact information for our e-procurement team is there as well. If you run into any navigation issues with Oracle, unfortunately, I'm not able to assist you with that. So that's why I want to equip you with this web page that can help you get through any obstacles that you may have. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you won't have any. Any other questions, or keep the questions coming, guys. You guys literally have the two most important men for this project here with you front and center. So
while we're waiting for additional questions, I do want to emphasize if interested respondents have not yet registered as a bidder in the city's Oracle system, to please prioritize getting that done. There's a little bit of an administrative process associated with that. Want to make sure that that doesn't become a timeline stressor on anyone. So would recommend getting that squared away as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And also, there is a YouTube video listed on that web page that says how to register as a supplier. So I'm so happy that you brought that up, Keegan. There is a resource there for actually becoming a vendor with the city as well. Anybody else? Andrew?
Yeah. Will you be selecting multiple CLT organizations through this, or is there a limit on the amount of funding that an organization can receive? Well, I assume there's a limit, but
So the RFP states that the city has the option to award one or multiple vendors.
Is there a budget available for this?
Daniel, Keegan.
Yeah.
We are looking for respondents to clarify their budget needs to complete these planning, organizational, and early stage pre-development activities. As we noted in the RFP, this is really intended to be to move these initiatives forward over the next 12 months. So kind of when we think about the planning and organizational activities that need to take place over a 12-month timeline is where we would see those budgets shaped around. And then we will be reviewing responses and clarifying and negotiating those budgets once we're able to see what the responses look like in terms of volume and content, and we'll be negotiating from there.
Thank you.
One second.
And that does, I think, lead into a question in the chat from Debbie Fisher around a second RFP plan for implementation of projects. We will absolutely, there will be dollars released for development subsidy, development gap, likely not an RFP, but through the city's real estate affordable housing development channels. So this is really intended to be essentially planning contracts in preparation to be ready for those development financing opportunities.
And Maggie, between Keegan, Daniel, and myself, we will be the evaluation committee for this RFP. So based off of evaluations, awards will be distributed based off of that data.
Two clarifications there. Final decisions, of course, are made by City Council. No recommendation is converted to a contract without and until the approval of City Council. And then want to be really clear, these are not grants. This is not a grant program. These are planning and pre-development contracts that the city would enter into with community land trust advancing organizations. These are not grant funds. They are contracts for planning services.
Thanks for that, Keegan. So if I understand correctly, there's a 3-person evaluation committee that will recommend and negotiate. And then the product of that goes to City Council for final approval?
Yes, as with all contracts that the city of Detroit enters into.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then to further clarify to piggyback on that, then this is reimbursable, right? Contract work. So we do the work, submit our invoices, and then we get reimbursed.
Once the contract is awarded, are you asking, or are we asking like
Yes,
beforehand?
I am asking. You are awarded a contract.
Okay.
You have to do the work and then submit for reimbursement.
So it is milestone based. And depending on, just after reviewing the proposals that we received, Keegan, Daniel, and myself will determine what the appropriate milestones will be.
Okay.
So,
So for example,
Janine, I know you and others have had experience acting as a subrecipient and entering into a subrecipient agreement with the city of Detroit, where we use that language around reimbursements. This is a little bit different. So essentially, these contractual budgets and scopes of work will say, we'll have an activity, a deliverable that has a fee associated with it or a payment associated with it. And then upon completion of those line items, an invoice would be submitted and processed. So it's not necessarily, again, the same way you may have worked with a subrecipient agreement where it's reimbursable and we're looking for those expenses recurred and you're submitting pay stubs from staff and things like that to get reimbursed. These will be essentially the vendors will invoice for milestones completed, and that will be the basis for the reimbursement or the payments.
I got you. Thank you.
These are a great question, guys. And I just want to reiterate, if you do not mind, please submit these questions via your supplier portal and Oracle. I would like for all vendors to be able to see these questions and the answers. So please follow through with that if you could. Also, before we exit the meeting, please, if you have not done so already, into the chat, put your name and the company that you represent. All right. So I see no more hands raised. Doesn't sound like anyone is getting ready to ask any further questions. Please also know that I am available via email, as well as you can submit your questions in Oracle, and we will respond to all vendors that way. Again, I would like to thank everybody for joining us today for this pre-bid, and we look forward to reviewing your submissions. Thank you. You guys have a great day.